Hello, hello, hello. Guess who? Beattie Boy. Yours truly, John Beattie, International Director of the British People's League. I notice on the screen that my Union Jack cap is getting a wee bit faded. There's a lot of history with this cap, including when I toured Britain last and met John Tyndall, etc., way back in 1989. So it has a lot of memory connotations. Dinosaur News, brought to you today, May 2nd, 2014, by the British People's League, BritishPeoplesLeague.com. Well, I've goofed off a couple of days this week, prior to and after the major interview, trickiest interview I've done, bar none, over the decades of political activity. Paul Hickman was an excellent host of his show on the Voice of Albion. Those who missed the interview, which took place on April 30th, if you go into our homepage, there it is. The link on Facebook. The link is on our Facebook pages. We use the Facebook pages as a subsidiary as to these broadcasts. So you just go down on the right-hand side of the homepage and you'll see the huge F for Facebook. And there's a direct link to the broadcast in case you missed it. It was almost 2 solid hours. Now, Mr. Hickman is so polite in his questioning, but I felt like I was being grilled. Just political things that I just didn't want to talk about, but I did, because, again, Mr. Hickman has the British diplomatic touch at his very height. And I'm glad I got a lot of crap out of the way from 6 years of my life when I was very young that I'd rather forget about. So the record is clear on the April 30th interview. I hope you enjoyed it, those of you who tuned in. I've heard from lots of you viewers, many, many fantastic emails. Very courteous praising done, and I appreciate it. Just very encouraging, mostly from Facebook friends. Our blind list, well, we exchange emails all the time. Actually, I overload those in the blind list with every thought I have. I try to cut back a wee bit, but we've got to just keep pushing away to get the enthusiasm going. Now, to get in our blind list, you get the inner thoughts, and we bash out the addresses, we delete the addresses of who it came from, but we forward terrific thoughts from other blind list people, almost a cell structure, legal, of course. But again, I really appreciated the kind comments as to the broadcast. And the other plus, we've had a few more YouTube subscribers. As I've explained in the past, there's nothing to do with the British People's League as such. People request through YouTube. I guess you hit certain buttons and you become a subscriber. So you get these YouTubes, the Dinosaur News, instantly when I upload them, providing that the YouTube production is kind to me. So far today, we're at the 3.5-minute mark, and it's being kind. Now, I'm sorry I missed the history of the patriotic side of May Day. I feel guilty there. I should have been doing some kind of broadcast about the good side of May Day. We won't talk about the communist side of May Day. But the workers' part of May Day, of course, is part of our history and our ancestry. But I was, no excuses, Beattie, but just too wiped with all the emails back and forth. And I'm back on Skype. So you got Skype, emails, personal emails with a couple of pals. Listen to Beattie crying the blues. Well, I got to give you the straight goods. We're supposed to be doing 5 days a week, and we're getting fewer and fewer. We'll get back on track. And we rearranged the studio a bit here yesterday. I've got to get Queen Victoria back on the picture in our poster. I've switched the furniture around to give it spring and summer comfort. During the winter months, I sleep just behind the studio. It's too cold in the house upstairs in the side rooms. But spring and summer I can shuffle around and cover a couple of heaters. So, gads, I'm telling you everything except how I clean my teeth. I don't think that's why you tuned in. But I must say, over the years, over the decades, that the personal touch never hurts a broadcast or these newspaper columnists, the good ones. Speaking of newspaper columns, the good ones, we got something great in the mail yesterday. The latest Candor League. You all hear me promoting Candor. Why? They have a direct line to the British Patriot movement. Very hard work on the part of their editor, Colin Todd, and his writer, his assistant, Robert Black. Very terrific issue. I'm just going to try and see if we can get the heading up for you. The edition number 853, Message of Resurrection. To serve as a link between Britons all over the world in protest against the surrender of their world heritage. To serve as a link between Britons all over the world in protest against the surrender of their world heritage. It's just loaded with activities going on in the motherland in Britain. Page after page. Well worth subscribing to. Quite the story by Robert Black as to the financial founder of Candor. As I promote on the shows always, unless I forget a day, but I always promote Candor, because they are not linked with any one direct political party, so therefore their success is not bound to various personalities in the different groups. And here's the back cover. Let's see if we get it up nice. Oh my, what have we here? The Dinosaur News. John Beattie of the British People's League is running a daily video broadcast Monday to Friday. Visit the BPL's website for the latest and back broadcasts of Dinosaur News. British People's League, Box 691, Minden, Ontario, KOM2KO, Canada, www.britishpeoplesleague.com. And there's some badges that you can get from the League of the Empire Loyalists. And it has all the details. Now, I will say about the badge, it doesn't come through as detailed on the Aussie hat that I wear on many of the YouTube shows. But that came from Candor. And they're very good on their mailing appointments. You get what you order. So get in touch. Candor.org.uk. Candor.org.uk. This issue 853. I'm grinning because there's quite the story on how they pinned down the exact issue number. That's a lot going back away. So it's just a great feeling for the British People's League to have such a connection with the same ideology as the British People's League, for sure. It's only 50 degrees Fahrenheit in here, so it's still a trickle spring cool. So I'm still wearing the sweater and a vest on top of the ladies, the retired civil servants knitting group in Ottawa. So I'm still appreciating their fine sweaters. That is for sure. I listened to the various blog radio shows. I got to cut some of them back. I have to get the book out. There was a young chap, very intelligent chap named Andy. He wants that book out. There's other people in the motherland have been saying, come on, Beattie, let's get that book going. Well, I've got the chapters organized. I just have to sit down and type it all up. I had 2 or 3 chapters here on the BritishPeoplesLeague.com main page. I pushed the delete button by mistake and wiped them out, but, well, I have the prints, so I have to retype that onto the homepage just to get the nibbles to show you where we're at, especially with the new young people coming aboard as a result of Paul Hickman's show. Great interest, great interest. I'm being very, very honest. I didn't have one single email of criticism. I was on very touchy ground. I thought some feelings would be hurt, but not one. I'm a sensitive guy. I think that's my problem. I take things too seriously. But we've heard on various blog radio outlets with varying degrees of the overall message. But apparently, verbal messages must be passionate. As one caller into the show pointed out, he liked the passion. I felt I was being hysterical. But apparently not. You always blame yourself, but apparently a bit of passion helped. Wow, there was a lot of emotional memories that were brought up. Mr. Hickman prepared some brilliant questions. He left nothing out. So now when the municipal election comes up, I'll be free to talk about municipal affairs. Of course, you people out there know I'm the British People's League Director, International Director. I will not be bringing the scope of our lobby force to a small municipal council any more than those of various patriotic groups who do have councillors in the motherland. Haven't been as many lately, internal feuds, etc. Mr. Hickman Paul, he really pushed me on leafleting, etc. You run to win. It's just not my bag. I said something was very nice to get votes on the broadcast. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to listen. Then I apologize for saying it. Because another young fellow wants to help with the posters, etc. He's got graphics ability, just as does Sarah in Oshawa. So we have people out there for things and for matters. It's just getting everyone and everything together. So yes, if there's physical assistance, I will hit the bricks with literature for the municipal election. I'm running for the position of Deputy Reeve, but not officially yet. I still have to produce $100 with the nomination papers the first week of June, and that must come out of your personal pocket. So I'm having a hard time getting that, but I can't appeal for those funds. You can't appeal for any funds under the Election Act until you're actually a registered candidate. And I'm not going to appeal for funds. I'm not going to let the municipal situation interfere with the urgency of the British People's League. Any donations, please, to the British People's League, whether it's to the post office box that is very clear on our homepage or whatever. And money makes the world go round, and I hate getting at it, but of course we could use some funding to get some of our plans into motion. And it seems that every time there's a few, like, way back in November, December, there's $430 up to about February. And that covered back bills for the internet, for the YouTube internet, not the YouTube, but the internet costs. And I have to give the webmaster something. The party is just accepting tokens. So that caught up. And then it seems there's lulls. There'll be 2 or 3 months with nothing, which is the situation right now. So if you got a bit to spare, I know there's not much to spare with hydro going up on the whole bit, but I'm doing all I can. Okay, I don't know what else I can do except get the van plans in motion. Oh yes, Paul on the interview. Well, he says we just hop in a car and exchange the cost of the trip in our cars. From the old school, folks, success breeds success. When we pull up in front of the post offices of the small villages, again, the post office is being the symbol of the federal government. When we pull up, we want to be in spiffy vans. I even know of a fellow that has a limo company, and he hates the massive immigration. I know we'll get a terrific deal. I'm not trying to look corny, but we've got, with the few that we have to use psychology. It's psychological warfare. Like that brilliant White Day March thing that Kyle Hunt out of the States pulled off, with just a few people around the white globe doing some kind of demonstration. I didn't do myself enough justice on the April 30th interview. Almost said, well, sorry that British People's League couldn't do anything. Well, what are these shows? I promoted the White Man's March for a week or two ahead of time and congratulated him afterwards. So This is what the British People's League is offering the white man. These daily YouTubes. But we'll do our bit when the donations come in. We have young people that stand by, and that young Andy that called into the interview. Paul Hickman took questions from the audience, call-ins, and they were terrific. And the young fellow, he has the ability, so when all the supplies are in front of me, well, that's one more activity to be performed on my notch, on my watch, on my belt, whatever. I'll be grateful for the weekend. You could say, well, I only had to do 3 shows this week. But I personally am counting the 2-hour interview. I'm capable of the job. Don't worry, you don't have to fire me. But who else have I got to cry the blues to? No, it's been a pleasure. What? Sit back with nothing? Sit back in an igloo with nothing going on? I mean, the YouTube started February 17th, and as things keep trickling upwards, we'll soon have 50 subscribers to the YouTubes. Then we have our blind list. I must confess, Google Analytics conked out of me. I tried to improve it. You know, I'm sure you're all familiar with it out there in the computer world. You try and improve something because the banners say, oh, upgrade, upgrade. Well, messed it up. The webmaster has said that the Google stats from the old approach will come up, the analytics. Then I can tell what cities, again, are clicking in. But I said to myself, says I to Beattie boy, says I to myself, well, what's the point in worrying about what cities click in? What you want are phone calls, emails, and yes, that nasty word, gifts. So it really doesn't matter if I see which cities are clicking in. But the atmosphere surrounding the interview, the views of the YouTubes doubled. And don't go by the numbers on the YouTube. I'm just saying the ones that they say, but they're all reduced, and I've seen the complaints from many people that they reduced the number of YouTube hits to maybe political views that the ownership doesn't agree with. Who knows? But again, hey, double-sided coin here. We're allowed to be on. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth, if that's the expression. So that's it. That's sort of the wrap-up. Very successful interview. And get yourself a nice cup of tea or a nice cold beer if you have not heard the interview. As I say, just click into BritishPeoplesLeague.com homepage and it'll be the second video under today's video when we get this one posted up to you. So do enjoy your weekend, folks. And we will be back at you. Calendar on the wall. May the 5th. Monday, May the 5th. We'll see what we got to talk about then, because we pretty well covered the very successful interview. And again, thank you to all those great fresh faces on Facebook that congratulated me. It really very much appreciated. And the blinders too. Okay. So that's the scoop for today. Dinosaur News. Dinosaur News brought to you today by the BritishPeoplesLeague.com. Talk to you Monday.